Hi, I'm Bradley S. Tolpen.
Joshua is not his real name, but sometimes protecting an individual's identity is more important than sharing a person's name. So when I tell you Joshua and I met in November 2010, I'm talking about a real person, but I'm using a fictitious name for him. So be it.
My friend Charles Isinski, aka Joshua, died May 8th, 2013.
Hello, I'm Bradley S. Tolpen here with main event star Alp Ashkelek at Rumble Time's Rage on the River Fight Night, February 15th, 2013. Alp, you just did a massive elbow ground and pound. Can you take us through the end of your fight?
In the first round we had good exchanges, and I knew I won the first round, but in second round, I took him down, and all I remember is I kept staying busy, and he wasn't happy about it. He was saying stuff to his corner, and the ref, saying that I was just laying on top of him, but I was busy, and first elbow I landed towards the end. I think it started everything, and then I just landed 4 or 5, I think, and he just couldn't defend him. So I knew who I was at the moment. So I'm really glad I got the finish.
After the fight, I also spoke with Josh Robinson.
You weren't happy with the way that fight ended. You want to talk about it?
Just mainly, from my perspective, he wasn't being active on top, and being active to me is not just hitting a body and little piddle-paddle shots to the head. You have to actively try to pass a guard and do things like that, and he seemed like he was afraid to try to pass my guard or stand with me, so he just did enough to where the ref was saying he was busy, and then I got mad, and like I've always claimed, I'm a flashy fighter. I have a good chin, I can take one hell of a shot, and he wasn't hitting me hard, so I told him to hit me, and I dropped my hands and let him hit me, and the ref stepped in and stopped it. I was completely fine. I was coherent, even though they say I wasn't. But I'd love to fight him again on a neutral ground.
It was a great show tonight, and my first fight I won 25. I got the finish. It was my first finish in a long time, so I'm really glad that happened tonight. So I couldn't be happier than this right now.
It was really great to see you finish. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
That's Alp Ashkelek, winner of the co-main event. I am Bradley S. Tolpen.
Following his outstanding performance in front of a sold-out crowd at the St. Charles, Missouri Ameristar Casino, flyweight Alp Ashkelek will fight Jimmy the Brick Flick on May 31st at the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi, Texas in Legacy Fighting Championship 20.
Good morning. It's lacrosse season. We're here at the Mary Institute in St. Louis Country Day School's McCreary Field, where the MICDS Rams face off against the Lafayette Lancers in an under-15 boys lacrosse game. With me now is the referee, Shawn Latino. Shawn, you, as a lacrosse referee, are hired to officiate games for all different age levels. College men, high school guys, and under 15 boys youth. How does it differentiate in a game like today with the younger boys on the field?
Well, the younger players, it tends to be a lot more action going on because they're young at the sport. A lot more mistakes are being made. You really have to work probably 5 times harder than you would in a normal game.
The United States Lacrosse Men's Rules Subcommittee recently put out a points of emphasis and encourages officiates to call penalties for violations such as checks to the head and neck, cross-checking, unnecessary roughness, cross-check holding. Could you explain these violations and their penalties and illustrate the calls?
Yes, sure, of course. For example, this year they found out through the last couple of years that there were a lot of injuries to the head because a lot of these kids, even the older kids, the high school kids, were committing these checks, and when they follow through with their checks, their stick would slide off people's arms or shoulders and go into their heads. So we had a lot of concussions going on, and in order to protect the kids, they decided to increase the penalty time. So whereas before, if you just did a simple cross check to somebody and hit them in the back with your stick, This way, you know, instead of getting a 1-minute penalty, now if that stick slides and goes up and hits somebody in the head, it'll be a 2 to 3 minute non-releasable penalty, which means if a goal is scored, you still stay in the penalty box. My advice to parents, especially with the younger kids who are taking up lacrosse, would be to just, you know, focus on keeping your body healthy. Flexibility is key. Stretching, right? The key to longevity is flexibility. Not getting injured is a really important thing too, because in lacrosse, if you get an injury, maybe somewhat like football, like a knee or shoulder injury, it can hamper your career for the rest of your life. You know, so you want to make sure you just don't get hurt. And the important thing, of course, is to just always cross-train, not just play lacrosse, but play other sports. Take your vitamins, eat good food, get plenty of rest, and that's pretty much it.
Well, Shawn Latino, thank you very much. Have a great game today.
Pleasure, Bradley.
I'm Bradley Tolpen, and here we are at MICDS.
Hey everybody, heaven can wait. Helping fight hunger here on earth can't. St. Louis After Locals Equal Opportunity Committee is now sponsoring the Dan DeCasual Memorial Food Drive. From now until February 24th, 2012, donations of canned food items or other non-perishable food items are welcome at a wide variety of donation locations. Bring your food items to the St. Louis Area Food Bank will receive all your donations and distribute them to the hungry, needy folk. If your heart is willing, do your part to help the fight against hunger. Let's join together and start this new year right and make a difference.
Good morning, Randy and
Thank
John.
you.
We're live here in Dupont, Illinois, where an officer shot and wounded a man about 2 a.m. this morning. The investigation into this officer-involved shooting is ongoing. Police were called to the scene following a domestic disturbance. Things got quiet for a while, but when the police arrived, the man came out with a gun. They told him to drop his weapon and he failed to comply. That's when the officer shot him. Neighbors are surprised by the overnight event. Edward Carroll said,
We never had this kind of trouble here in DuPont. You know, DuPont's usually a really quiet town and real pleasant.
Illinois State Police are assisting in the investigation. I'm Bradley Tolpen for Fox 2 News. When you enter Professor J.W. Wright's gym, Grappling Concepts in St. Peter's, and see its simple matted area, you might be surprised that he teaches world-class sports jiu-jitsu to serious competitors, real contenders, and lots of winners. Some of his fighters are amateurs, others are pros.
I am Naga. I'm undefeated at about 8-0. JW is very inspirational. He's a great guy. He's a, unbelievable teacher. He teaches me everything he can.
I never tell people to think, oh, I'm going to be the best St. Louis Jiu-Jitsu has to offer. I say be the world's best.
I want to compete in Pan Ams, hopefully next year, and I'd eventually like to go to Worlds.
Live from Grappling Concepts, I'm Bradley Tolpen, reporting
Following year,
for you.
2012, Daniel Boroff competed in the Pan Ams as a blue belt. He won third place.
I'm Bradley S. Tolpen. Hello, I'm Bradley Tolpen in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Bradley S. Tolpen here in St. Louis, Missouri. Cans of food are fine for fines. That's right. Food for Fines commences at the St. Louis County Library April 11th and continues through April 17th. Every can you bring in is worth $1 forgiven of your outstanding fine debt. That's right, for fine debt only, and only $10 of debt will be forgiven. Remember, you'll still owe the library for lost and damaged items, but more importantly, drop in some cans and support Operation Food Search. I'm Bradley S. Tolpen. See you at the library.
Across the Room was shot in November 2012 in St. Louis. And in this film set during the 1950s Red Scare, actor Bradley S. Tolpen portrays FBI agent Jim Parkins. Across the Room will be shown tonight during the Webster University Student Film Series screenings. The event is scheduled to start at 6 p.m. inside the Winifred Moore Auditorium, Webster Hall, 470 Lockwood Avenue, Webster University, St. Louis, Missouri. The event is free and open to the public. NBC takes you beyond the limits of what primetime has offered in the past. a taut, intense, psychological thriller about Hannibal, the acclaimed novel by author Thomas Harris. Silence of the Lambs is the middle of the Hannibal Lecter story. This new series takes you back to the beginning, the genesis and development of the relationship with his patient, Special Agent Will Graham, an FBI criminal profiler, and the Hannibal Lecter, the man who would become known as Hannibal the Cannibal. Don't blink. Let's take a bite out of crime.
With an eye to see things as they really are, I hope you've enjoyed your short tour of Paso Grill, St. Petersburg, Florida Beach. I am Bradley S. Tolpen.